Welcome to True Astrology. My name is Arthur W. Chadbourne. I'm a fourth-generation astrologer. And today, what we'd like to talk about is the secret of transits, which really isn't much of a secret. Everybody really knows about transits. It's when the planets are passing through different houses and sections in current time. Our birth chart reflects off of this because the birth chart is the base operations of what we are and who we are. So, with that, we want to be remembering the fact that we are speaking a language. And when we look at this idea, the parts of speech are right here. Nouns and pronouns are the houses. They're the person, places, and things that you work with. Verbs are planets. That's what you do in a sign. The adjective is the sign itself. It describes what the house is about. So if you have Leo on a house, it would explain to you that that house has Leo quality to it. And so it would be much more bombastic, or much more open to progress and drama, you might say. The adverb or interjection is what the dignities are. These show you how strong or how weak the planet is. The preposition is the time or the space that it takes to do something like this. How long does it take for a transit to go through a house? A conjunction is a connecting aspect. So conjunctions connect two planets that literally combine their energies. The numeral process, of course, is the house numbers 1 through 12. Article or determiner is always the ascendant or the object that we're looking for. Transits in your chart. Now, the key here is the planets have a basic meaning. In other words, the sun is a fire and vitality sign. It's just what the basic principle is about. However, this changes depending upon the position that the sun is placed in whatever sign your own or client's birth chart is. As we're looking at it, such changes can be sign placement, house placement, rulership of those signs in houses, exaltation, is it going to grow, is it in triplicity, has help from other areas. Each planet created the sign it rules. It stands to reason that any influence a planet is under, the sign it rules will be exactly under the same temperament. So if you have a bad planet, that bad planet will also represent the two houses that it rules, and those two houses will also be bad. Therefore, when we look at a transit, or by any current planet that carries it with it, it's going to carry the same influences related in your own personal horoscope chart. It's just in contrast to the transiting planet. Thus, in the birth chart, should you have Mars in Leo, okay? The base impression would indicate that the showman-like quality is in a person's makeup. They have this Leo process. They have this magnanimous, here I am guy. Now, as the planet transits through different signs, it will alter that Mars in Leo, and Mars-Leo quality would be somewhat subdued during a transit in Virgo. It would be more internal. We think about things and want to do things, and maybe it's a good time to start developing. So the process then would be expressed in a more outright transiting in Libra. So when it gets into Libra, it's much more bombastic. In social aspects, it would be more prone to be in charge. And again, it would be subdued during Mars and Scorpio. And here you'd have, because it squares Leo, it would have an influence perhaps of an antagonistic behavior. Now with Mars transit in Sagittarius, a more outgoing, larger-than-life approach would be seen. So each of the planets as they transit the signs are going to make different aspects to the natal planet, and when they do, you have to take that into consideration, the natal planet meaning and the sign that it's in and how it relates to the natal planet meaning. Here Mars is in Gemini. So all transits of Mars will have a Mars in Gemini effect. Now Mars in Gemini thrives in high energy paced situations. There's a lot of mental energy that's involved, and so you see different areas of the life that will express itself through this. This is a chart of somebody who does a lot of movies, and the movies they do has a lot of Mars involved. Speed was one, where she drives a bus and the bus is going to explode if she goes slow. The Blind Side, she's been a detective. All of the things are Mars Leo kind of a thing. So you see that she's playing this Mars Gemini role in different areas. Now, Mars in Cancer, of course, is in its fall, so it's a weak placement for it. So these people must feel secure before they act. So it's actually based on fear and their emotions that are involved with what they're doing. They're out there to confront people, but only in a way that is comforting rather than irritate or fight somebody. They're not going to do that. Transits by Mars in this condition, natal condition, is passive. It's passive aggressive. Only a slightly favorable situation at best, except when they want to help people. This is a helpful Mars. It wants to nurture because it's a Cancer sign. And it's in the 3rd house, so it's an expression. You tell it that they'll listen to your problems real easy, and you can say, oh yeah, and they'll take on for you. Yeah. A list of the planets is very, very important. And the easiest process here is just to list them, as you can see, in numerical order. I have them listed at Pluto as the top, and then you can see Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, Mars. And if you do this, you get a real quick read on your chart rather than having to scan all over the place. And this gives you an idea. And then you can announce whether it's an Earth triplicity, what it favors, in Earth, which is Venus, or if Venus is in a fire triplicity, it favors Jupiter and Mars, because Mars is, well, a fire sign. So each of these will tell you how the planet itself will favor the triplicity, which is, of course, the 3 signs that rule the quadrants or tridents of the process. So the dignity, you can write out the ruler of the sign, whatever it is, if there is a ruler, or the exaltation, if there is an exaltation, or a favored triplicity. So, and this tells you here that Uranus is an inner Earth sign, and it really favors the idea of Venus. So Venus here, you see, is favored 4 times in the chart, or 5 times, I'm sorry. So all of these planets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So Venus is highly favored in this chart. So it's no wonder that this person became an actor doing things that they wanted to do in the acting field. When you look at these exaltations or triplicities or anything else, on a positive level, you can see that they might show up as bar levels. And once you learn the triplicities and once you learn how the dignities really work, this bar association will really make you understand it. When it's good under these conditions. When it's bad under the conditions that you can see here. So here the process is just giving you a visual of what the dignities might express when we're looking at something as they go through the transits. And so as they go through transit, they'll exchange dignity. They get better or worse. Now, aging, the part of fortune, is pretty important. And we need to recognize that each sign has a number of years assigned to it. And this is given to us by the ancients very early. If we start with Aries, Aries is a 15-year sign. Taurus is 8. Gemini is 20. Cancer is 25. Leo is 19. Virgo is 20. Here we see Libra, which is 8. And I noticed it down here in the bottom. So we're looking at 8. And then it's going to change. It's going to go into Scorpio for 15 years. Then it's going to go into Sag for 12 years. And it's going to transit over to Capricorn for 28 years, etc., etc. And you can see here just under the 8, I put 1.6. That's because I divided 8 into 30. So that means that each degree, and when you look at the part of fortune, it's 24 degrees. I would subtract that as it's leaving the sign, as that's what's left in the age of that particular sign, 1.6 year. If I add them up, it's 56 is when this person died. And you can see that the ruler of the ascendant is up there in the 9th house cusp, but the ruler of the 8th house is conjoining that. And so the 8th house conjunction is showing you, a possibility of death during this year or later. Also, Saturn is in aspect to this, and of course the part of fortune is in Capricorn, so that's why we would look at Saturn. So it'd be very important for us to see this. Mutual receptions. Here we have a mutual reception. Notice that Mars is in Taurus, Venus' sign, and Venus is in Aries, Taurus, Aries sign. So each of them are in the other's sign. When you see something like this, it tells you that they're going to aid one another in some way rather easily. This just happens. It's just sort of like a gift, or not so much of a gift, but a mutual reception of a planet, two planets in each other's domicile or house or sign system. Here we see a death of an individual, and here we see that the houses 4, 8, and 12 are terrible houses in the chart. They really imply problems and illnesses and things. And so here we see the process here being shown as a mutual reception, the 8th house being the ruler of death, and here it ups in the 10th in a mutual reception. So these are the things you do. You can click pause and examine these charts as we go, of course. Okay, sign element, the contrasts. It's important to see the elemental contrast between signs. And we look at something, air and fire work very well together, but not with water and earth. And earth and water fix very well together, but not so much with air and fire. So these create squares and oppositions and problems that occur in charts. And this is how we determine whether a chart is favorable or unfavorable, by basically looking at sign elements. The other one is what's the contrast through dignities, and how do they reflect rulership? How do they reflect the exaltation of a sign? Or favorable triplicity, along with aspects, of course, that help or hinder. Now, these are important little things that we need to look at. And like a detective, we have to pick up on each of these indicators and create a process in our language so we can understand what we're reading. So, with that, I want to say I certainly thank you. I hope you got something. Don't forget, if you need anything, give me a call. Talk to you later.